States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is the Preble Town Board meeting, February 14th, 2022. Are there any corrections, additions, or deletions to the minutes of January meeting? Oh, you want to make a motion that we approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
All
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Who seconded?
I did.
Thank you.
Okay, Jen, you're up.
Committee reports, we've received no report from dog control. The justice report for January was $6,805 in fees collected.
Thanks, Jen. Jeff, highway report?
Yep, a lot going on. Spring's right around the corner, I hope. So, been talking with Don, Jim, and I've actually talked with all of you on a few different items. Barton LaJudas, we tried to work out a contract with another engineering firm, and that never seemed to work out. Don tried his hardest, I know, to make it work. And so our second on the list was Barton LaJudas. And I think that's a little more in line with what we need to get to our end game. So we've got actually two contracts. The original contract was for Curry Road culvert, and you've already approved that money for that out of the bridge capital last year. So we're all set there. Other than Don, a resolution possibly, if you're comfortable with it, for Jim to sign that, or where you.
That's on Curry Road, Jeff?
Correct, yes.
If it's been authorized before, you can kind of reaffirm or whatever, but it's money that's set aside.
We already did it last year, yeah.
Resolution needed for him to sign it or not, I don't know, that's up to you
No,
guys.
we already made
Okay.
the resolution.
Okay, and then the other is the East Hill Road, the bank stabilization from the August floods.
Jeff, I have a question.
Sure.
Does that project have anything to do with the homeowner that we went to visit, who was here to come to see us?
It
The
does
water
not,
running down the hill?
it does not.
It's a
It's
separate
actually the road stabilization, not the path of where the water's
issue. All right, so
going.
it's a separate issue.
It's a good question, but yeah, it's totally separate.
Okay,
We'll work towards that.
Okay.
We haven't got there yet. So the East Hill Road bank stabilization, Barton LaJudas also gave a proposal for that. And that is $29,500, including the soil samples, the borings and like that, to get it through to bid. And also a couple of inspections after, or one or two after, I think it was, Don.
One at the start
One
and
at the start,
one
one
at
at
the
the
end.
end. That's right. Thank you. So that, I believe, will need a motion to pull that out of the capital reserve. And Don, and I didn't talk to you about this. Is it okay to move on with that? Because if that doesn't fly, that we still got to do it. We'd have to take it out of the general, my standard budget, my general repair budget for the year. I don't expect any problems, but just to get this signed on so we can get moving with FEMA. And what that is, we spend the money, it's reimbursement. So we need to spend it to get it back through FEMA. Jim brought up a good point. We have been assigned a disaster relief number for this project through FEMA. Been dealing with the state. I got another meeting at 11 o'clock tomorrow with these guys. So it's just this slow cog of government, big government, crawling along. But this is where we're at with it, so that we can, get the engineering done, and then it'll go out to bid. Contractors come in with the bids. A bid will be awarded. And then, we'll just keep moving on this, bank stabilization project, but
Well, what kind of time frame do you see on this as far as the engineering getting done and then the bids and then actually doing the work?
well, the big clinker like everything else is, the contractors and the manpower they have and what other work they have lined up. Favorable bids, make it, as long as everything's in line. So it'd be nice if they get started by mid to late summer. They won't do any of the engineering up there until the snow melts. They're wading through knee deep plus snow right now. Got to get some soil samples, a couple of borings I know of they got to get. So in a perfect world, I would say we'd be awarding, midsummer, and hopefully they could get started shortly after that. It's a moving target right now.
Okay.
And it depends what they find, how extensive this gets.
Right.
They could find, okay, we can fix it for, this much, or they could say, whoa, this is gonna take some serious removal of material, build, Lego blocks, we call them, but to build it up and, compaction issues and all that, it could end up into quite a bit. At this point in the game, FEMA's flipping 75% of the bill. I'm still waiting to hear from Albany to see if they're going to flip 12.5 or 25% of the bill. We may still be hanging for 12.5, but it beats 100%.
So
So
you would like to see this done at the end of the summer?
it'd be nice. The catch is if we can get it. Right now, everybody's bidding their summer work for construction.
Mhm.
It's the catch. If the engineering was done right now, it could go out to bid and, in a month or two, they'd be firing up on it. But that isn't going to be the case.
Okay.
It's just who's available to do it at this point in the game, to be honest with you. Come July and August. So it's crapshoot, to be very honest with you.
Okay, so do we need to make a resolution for permissive referendum on this? To move that money?
And that's capital account, so
Yeah, if we're talking about moving money from a reserve,
correct.
That's 29,500, right?
and which fund is this coming out of?
That'd be out of the capital project fund, which is
Okay, Rick?
Why would it come out of there instead of the highway?
because in engineering,
Okay.
a lot of times it can come out of both. That's why I said we cover it out of this year's budget. But engineering is also one of those gray areas, whether it's done, through general fund or the highway. And that's up to you too. I mean, it's just be that much. And you can cover that out of the general highway repairs, and just do that and back out, what other work we would do as far as paving, gravel, or whatever. So,
Money that we reimbursed anyway. Oh, eventually.
correct. Yeah, eventually, at the end of the budget, once we got our money back, it would be come back from FEMA, whether it's, and if it's a big enough project, they'll do draws. Okay, so it doesn't totally bust your budget. But if it's not, you just said big enough, I don't know what big enough is to the federal government, I know what it is to this town, it's a lot smaller number. So, but yeah, it could be either just, you may not see, depending on when everything gets done, if it was late summer or into next year when the reimbursements come. The reimbursement,
Does it make a difference where it comes out?
Well, excuse me. Well, I think it's in, I'm not 100% clear that you're talking, Jeff, then on the capital projects, the hall. I mean, I've got over here, hall renovations.
motion being used capital projects. Gina gave me So, and generally, any reimbursements that come back to the general fund and then can be pushed other places at the end of the year when we do the budget. You know, flatten out the budget at the end of the year.
I mean, she's got reference here to capital projects, the 145,000, so
That's the
that's
same number.
savings, but I don't know, is that for this, is that for the town hall, Jeff?
She's got it there. Yeah, for years.
Gina's numbers now.
We put $30,000 in every year into that fund to do renovations on this building when we need it.
Okay,
So-
and we can pull it out of my general fund, we can find out down the road if we wanted to, or if we could, I don't know. Biggest thing is that contract.
I understand. My concern is, you know, there's categories of reserve funds, right? So that's, you know, what category does this fall into, if you will? And I mean, Gina seems to be pointing towards the capital project, but, you know, I've got on my note here, it's all renovations. So.
Well, to get this started, you want to take it out of the highway fund, Jeff?
And then
When's are gonna be payable, Jeff, you know? How
I
soon?
really
And could you talk, you've got a phone conference with these guys tomorrow with FEMA. Can we, find out, can you ask them, Jeff, that they, how the reimbursement,
for engineering and all that.
yeah. And beyond that too, of course, how this actually will work, because, which we kicked around, you know, and I've done it, well, we did it here for the highway garage. We borrowed money, and then we got reimbursed through the sewer grant.
Right.
So we might take a harder look at this and say, okay, if it's, you know, if it's likely you're gonna get the FEMA reimbursement, if that's how this works, then we may wanna look at doing some borrowing in reliance on that, if it's right. I mean, if we're gonna need the money from somewhere.
Mhm.
And so, right, a lot of times you have to spend the money first and then you get reimbursed.
Right.
But if we don't, you know, if we don't have budget for it, then, okay, from what capital account can we pull it? And, you know, I'm not real comfortable saying, okay, let's pull it out of the capital projects account for engineering for East Hill. You know,
Mhm.
that's the,
And what she sent me was different than what you've got.
so, and I don't know if was she referring to the community development funds at all?
And that-
Or was that with respect to this piece of equipment?
That's what she told me there, and we discussed that too, you and I had,
Right.
She talked about the equipment coming out of community
community
development.
development. And I mistyped that, so I apologize. Get that straightened out. Are you,
Is this something that you figure out a little bit more
Oh,
tomorrow
we
after
can-
you talk to them and then talk to Gina and if you want a special meeting?
as far as the Cardinal June, I think we can, if you're all right with it, I can sign, you know, okay them, and I'll pull it out of that fund, you know, our highway. And then if down the road, you know, we decide we can pull it out of someplace else, just so we can get a little more work done this year, it'd be different until we get that reimbursement back.
Right, and, you know, I guess the risk would be that there's no reimbursement this year, right? Because we all know how government works.
Yeah.
So you could be down 30,000 out of your current funds, right? Your budgeted funds
Right.
for this year.
The one thing, the $130,000 is the number that they keep throwing between a base project and a large project. And when he said, once you hit the large project, that's when you can pull draws on it versus having the project complete, and then you just get one check.
Mm-hmm.
So the soup coat estimate that I got was over 160,000.
Free stuff.
Right. Plus the engineering cost is actually over 200. So if that holds true, what he was telling me, we are in a large project and you can pull draws on it. So that's my
Well, it'd
hope.
be great that they say, look, if we increase expense for the engineering, you can seek reimbursement at that point on that, right?
Right.
And then moving forward, right, if we think about it, then the next step would be to go out to bid, right?
Mhm.
And so, again, if it's where you get reimbursed, well, we've got to pull the money from somewhere to do the work. And if we're talking 160 plus or minus,
Right.
then we've got to have. I would think we'd want to be in a position to borrow that.
We could at that time. I don't think we have to decide that tonight, but we could.
Right.
Well, and then part of that, and you read it and explained a lot of it to me, I appreciate it, was the working us through that process, given the estimates. We'll know before we go out to bid. Per Barton and Judas, they'll give us some estimates on the project, so we're not caught off guard. That's part of their proposal.
What time's your phone call tomorrow, Jeff?
It is at 11 o'clock. You want to be on it?
Not really, but maybe. But yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Because I would think, right, for purposes of you planning, for purposes of the board planning, how can they tell us how this gets structured in terms of finances? I mean, I know there's a job to be done, you want to get it done, I get it, and I don't mean to throw roadblocks either.
No. Well, and that's one of those things that when they're on board, it's a great time to do it the right way if they're going to be picking up on it. So if FEMA wasn't on board right now, it'd be, in-house engineering it is what it would be. I mean, within our own budget, we wouldn't be talking these kinds of numbers. It would be, well, 2 years of our highway budget, just like that.
So the FEMA representatives, so just they're indicating that there's funding for this work.
Correct.
Yeah.
I've been on 4 conference calls and 1 Zoom meeting with them. Tomorrow's is supposed to be a phone call. The last time it was a phone call, I got an email 10 minutes before the thing to say, open up Zoom meeting. And I'm on the phone 20 minutes from my computer.
Have we done this before with FEMA?
2006.
How did that go?
Well, the neat thing is, any job you do, you come up with, here's your, in your head, it's going to cost this much. And I think back then it was like, I had it figured at like 18 grand. It's nothing this big. And we ended up getting like $42,000 or something back. I was like, just keep printing. I mean, and every time I'm on a phone call with them, or anytime I'm trudging, getting measurements or whatever, they pay that too, the administration, all of that. There's a fee schedule for that too. So potentially, that's can be up to 5% of the overall cost. So we could see, I don't know, $8,000 $10,000 just for buying me Excedrin. Because that's what it feels like a lot of time. You're just hitting your head against the wall.
So do you wanna wait until Jeff's call tomorrow and get more information on this?
Or you want, yeah, or how, you wanna get this, we gotta get the, engineering done,
Yeah,
right, regardless.
I'd like to get them lined up to get that going, so when this snow's gone, they can be at it. And that'll get us, every day that's done quicker, we got another shot at when we go out to bid for the project.
Right. So they're not gonna do anything in the next month, or
No,
maybe, before the next meeting, you know,
maybe.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice if they were already on and not having something,
right,
picking
Having
up
it
somebody
on their
else's
schedule.
project ahead of us now.
have it on their schedule, yeah.
Right now, in their proposal, they've got people ready to hit the ground right now, according to the way they've written that proposal. So,
So, depending on what goes on tomorrow, do you want, we could have a special meeting
Oh.
and then just okay it, or do you want to wait a
well, the
month?
flip side of that, it's gotta get done regardless,
Mhm.
to be honest, and if we end up pulling it out of the highway and next month, maybe, once we figure this all out, you know, as long as you're okay with the contract, I'll move ahead. And then where the funding from, we can work that down the road, I think,
Mhm.
isn't the worst thing, but we're comfortable with that, Tom.
Well, it's money out of your budget, John.
Right, and that's what I mean, it's,
And you got, right, you got, so the money for the courier is set aside, so that's been, because you're gonna get a double whammy here, right?
well, the Curry is we have the bridge reserve.
Yeah.
And that's got quite a bit in that, you know, there's over 200,000 in that for that project.
So, well, with that in mind too, so is the money for the engineering on the bridge on Curry, is that coming out of the reserve? Is that?
That, we've already approved that last summer.
We did do that with,
Yes.
because I don't recall.
Because we have a bridge fund reserve.
Right.
Right, but the actual being allowed to
And
take
we
it
have
out,
to
we
do
did
it.
last June or July, we go back and look to make
Look
sure.
it up.
Because it'd be subject to permissive referendum. So if that's already authorized, great. So that's not coming out of current funds, that's coming out of reserve funds.
Correct.
So you're gonna use highway funds to get this started?
And we'll work on that tomorrow. Thought,
Try to get a little
does
more
he need a
clarification.
motion to sign that, or what's the thought on that?
Well, it probably to execute the contract and, I guess authorizing the disbursement of the funds out of the current highway funds.
So, Jeff, you have anything?
So you do,
Do we want to, did you
So I
put that
think
in the
you
motion
need-
that you
I think
can,
you need an approval for Jeff to proceed, well, and authorizing your town supervisor to execute this engineering contract regarding East Hill Road FEMA project in the amount of $29,500, I believe it is.
okay, I'll make that motion.
Second,
All in favor?
I,
Carried?
Who initiates the call tomorrow, Jeff?
I've got a
You do?
1-800 number and then your PIN you plug in,
So you got the conference call capability?
correct?
Or it's really not a conference call, so you call in.
You
to
call in, I'll
one-
get you the PIN.
Yeah, if you want to email it to me, I'll try it. I don't know what I got going on at 11, but
Okay.
it might be helpful just
You
to
can talk to
hear their. kind of-
Leroy, Patrick, Jeff. And I'll butcher the other one's name. Two of them are down in Maryland. One's out in Colorado. The two state reps, Pat is in Binghamton. And Steve is out in, like, I think Rensselaer or somewhere near Albany. Ones I've been dealing with. So,
Let's give it a shot tomorrow.
okay.
Okay,
So, also I was talking to all the board members. And I pulled this, there's a misprint in that thing, but, and I also talked to Dave, and he was on board. As far as resolution to pull up to 120,000 out of the equipment reserve and 70 out of the community development for the purchase of possible purchase of a wheeled excavator. Like I explained to, I think all of you on the phone, this year, because of this very flooding, we're gonna be renting one for probably 4 months. And at $5,000 a month, there's $20,000 right there. And the other thing is that timing dependent is the price of these. One particular model I've been looking at is going up $11,000 at the end of March. So this is just the procedural part of it, and as long the actual decision would be made next month. This is just to get the time ticking on the permissive referendum, and then Jim and Dave and we'll, next couple of weeks we'll hammer this out so we know exactly what's going on. And if something doesn't work out, we can pull the plug, but at least this will get us the leg up on being able to do this. And it's at the current rates, that'd be paid for in roughly around 8 years of not renting, depending.
Riding along, yeah.
We spent an awful lot of money renting an excavator in the last, 15, 18 years that I know of. We've talked about it at different times, it just never seemed to fit, but the price of this stuff's gonna go through the roof in the next couple of years, I'm afraid. If we're gonna do it, it's a good time to pull the trigger, I think, if we can make it work. And that's
Is
just
the renting going up too?
tires, steel, everything you look at's gone. So, yeah, but this is just kind of the aligning ourselves so we could move forward next month if everything lines up with the highway committee meeting and others too. I'd like everybody's input, okay? If you wouldn't mind doing that.
okay. So,
What's the motion you want for that?
And it's right under the equipment, Dave. Pass a resolution for up to 120,000 out of the equipment reserve and 70, but it'd be out of community development instead of that.
We'd like to pass a resolution up to 120,000 to be used from the equipment funds and up to 70,000 to be used from the capital project funds.
Community
Community.
development. Yeah, it's different than that. Dave.
That's the lot?
Okay,
Community development.
Thank you.
Thank you.
that's not the one I got here.
No, it's my typo,
Okay.
my bad.
And then, funds to purchase wheel excavator. Make a model meeting in March.
then we need to publish this in the newspaper.
Correct.
You would do that, Tom?
Yep.
Okay.
You-
So we
So
need a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Can you give me any more info other than a wheeled excavator as far as details or whatever?
Yeah, I've got some more we can put to that, yes.
Because I'll need to put a little more on the paper than that.
Copy. Other than that, I think we're all set. Any questions for me? Perfect. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Jeff. Okay, recreation, nobody here from recreation. County legislature. I talked to Kevin this afternoon, and he's not gonna be here tonight, but the one point that he did bring up was that the county voted on doing junk day again. So we have 30 tons of credit that the county will take from us, and it's like every other year. And so I told him what a great service that was to the people of the community. Because everybody, I get a lot of calls in the spring about when the junk day is going to be. So, Jeff, you're still working your calendar on that, right? About what weekend we're gonna have that?
Be like either last weekend, April, first part of May.
Okay.
I haven't had.
You have a firm date next month?
For sure. And
Okay,
before that, we'll get it posted on the website.
okay,
I'll let you know.
all right. Jen?
January report for, Rick. 0 building permits issued, 78 miles traveled, 11 building inspections, 17 hours worked, 1 fire inspection, 5 complaint follow-ups, and 18 telephone inquiries. The next planning board meeting is February 23rd. The next ZBA meeting is March 3rd.
The historian is not here tonight. Jen?
Town clerk fees collected, $451. Dispersed $444 to the town of Preble and $7 to the New York State Ag and Market.
Jen, can you make a comment on the unfinished business review list of board?
Yes,
Of assessment
so
members?
the county is asking for an updated list of our Board of Assessment review members. And we had briefly tried to review this last month, but we didn't know for sure, or we didn't have the list of who was on this. So I've made each one of you a copy there. And it looks as though Mike Compton's term ended in September,
Mhm.
and everyone else is up to date through, Tom Harris will expire in September of this year.
Mike is gonna expire in September of this year?
Mike expired in 2021.
Okay. So we need to call him. Do you have his phone number there?
I do not.
Okay. Um,
There's a number on here.
Yeah, there's one number right on this list.
oh, okay. I don't know if I have.
Want to call him now, Jim?
Yeah, you wanna call him? You got him?
Which number you call it? What number you call
Cell phone.
it? Telephone?
I don't know. Mike, Jeff here. Town board would like to know if you'd like to keep serving on the assessment review board. Your term expired in September. I don't know if it'd be thanks.
Okay, so Jeff made the call, left a message, we'll wait for Mike to respond. Under new business, property tax payment extension. We need to make a motion to create an extension for the property taxes collection till May 31st. And Jen, you have paperwork on that?
Yes,
You have a contract for me to sign or something?
yes.
Okay.
You all have a copy of that as well.
Okay. So we need a motion that we will extend the payment collection of property taxes.
I'll make a motion to extend make an extension of the property taxes,
Till May 31st.
May 31st, 2022.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried? Okay. Next item under new business is Northeast Transformers. We have a situation where Northeast Transformers is refinancing their primary mortgage, and so we have a subordination agreement that the bank is sending us, and what this says is that we will be in a junior position or a secondary position for the two mortgages that they hold, and we were in a junior position before, and so they want to make sure that we're still going to be in that position again, even though they refinance. And I just want to go over with you, those checks that we get every month from Northeast Transformers. Toma Development got Northeast Transformers a loan, a grant. It's a loan through the state, and it was $183,500 at 3% back in July of 15, and it was a 10-year loan to be paid off in July of 25. They've got a balance right now of $70,561 as of February, and the payments that we receive every month go into a miscellaneous income account. And Gina has told me that at the end of every year in December, she takes those payments that go into the miscellaneous income account and put it into our general fund account. So she told me that we get to keep all of that money, the $183,500 principal plus the interest, and it's state funding for startup businesses, and us being the municipality that is administering this, we get to keep this. If it's under a certain amount of money, like $35,000 is the cutoff for what they call program income. And so because it's under that amount, we do get to keep that money. So that is a windfall for the town, and it's something that we could verify with Toma Development if we want. But that's what Gina told me.
What is a junior position?
Well, if you have,
Second mortgage.
Second.
Yeah. if
So if they miss payment,
They
then we're
default.
good.
Alright.
if they default, Key Bank would have first claim to their assets, and we would have second claim if there was ever a default. So anyway, this is the document. I don't know if everybody got a copy of this. Okay. And John, you have a copy of it too, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, and just for the record, as I've indicated to Jim, our office does some work for Northeast Transformer, and they've asked us to help them on this refinance. So you all need to know that. But factually, when they first purchased the building, they had a loan with Key Bank for $1.3 million. The town's mortgage was second at that time to a debt of $1.3 million. What they're doing is refinancing it now to get a lower rate, like people are doing. And the current mortgage balances, their mortgage balance is around $878,000. And I think it's noted here, but it's called a no cash out loan. In other words, if the closing costs are $40,000 or $50,000, Key Bank will loan them that money to pay for the closing costs. So the loan could go up by that amount, but it won't go up more than the closing costs. They will not loan them money so they pull in the cash out. So in relative term, because they're modifying that debt, if they don't get a subordination from you, okay, the bank won't modify it because they have to maintain their first interest, their first position as a first mortgage holder. So to maintain their first mortgage position, on the modified loan, you would agree to subordinate your debt to this modified loan. So it's, from day one, your position is greatly improved because you're not second at 1.3, you're now second at 8.78. And again, they've got a maximum amount of 975, but I can't believe the closing costs are gonna be close to $90,000, whatever the difference between the two is, but
So we're subordinate to a lower amount now than we were before.
then you're subordinate right now
Mm-hmm.
to the 878.
Right. So it doesn't change anything for us. It's just letting their bank know, Key Bank, that we agreed to the terms that we agreed to years ago when this started in 2015.
So they're not lowering our interest, they're refinancing Key Bank's interest.
Your loan is not being touched in any way other than your mortgage position right now, again, is second. And so that at most you're gonna loan a little bit more to cover the closing costs. And so this document just confirms your continued second position. Does not affect your loan documents, payments in any way. So that's fact. I'm not giving you opinion, that's fact. Okay?
And Don did disclose possible conflict of interest in this, but I don't think that this is a deal that we have to hire another attorney for. So, I'm just. So anyway, we need a motion for me to sign this subordination agreement.
And I'm glad to leave the room for any time, for any kind of discussion, so, it's
See any problem.
No. Make a motion for Jim to pass this mortgage agreement.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. And this has to be notarized, Don,
yeah, which I can notarize.
so I can sign it today, you can bring it back and get it. Okay. All right. Next, monies, okay, we have, one other item. Gina sent a, final budget amendment for 2021. And this is, customary at the end of the year where she moves money from one account to another so that her books are in line with what it should be. So this is this sheet right here. So we need a motion to approve this budget amendment for Gina.
So make a motion to approve final budget amendments for 2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay. Monies received from Northeast Transformers, $1,771.89. From USPS, $779. And at this time, I'd like to open up the meeting for public comment or questions. If anybody has anything they want to say? Yes?
Yeah, I've got an issue that I want to let you know about.
Okay.
Over on Friendly Shore Road on Tully Lake, we've got a firewood cutting business that's been being done right there on the side of the road. They're having logs delivered and they're stacked up between two trees. They're 15, 20 feet high.
Mm-hmm.
And there's incessant chainsaws being run. You've got wood splitters, you've got debris in the road. They're bringing in a dump truck to collect the wood to go take it somewhere else.
And it's a residentially zoned area.
And it's a residential area.
Mm-hmm.
And it's become quite an annoyance.
Mm-hmm.
And they've stripped all the vegetation off of the swamp side of that road.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna have additional runoff into the lake. They're running these chainsaws with the oils and the gas and all that, and you can have that leaching into the lake.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an issue. And
Can you state your name?
Dave,
Okay.
and it's just becoming a horrible annoyance. And I don't think it's appropriate because it looks like an industrial area instead of a residential area. You know, cutting down all the trees, cutting them up. It just,
So Rick would be notified, it'd be a code.
Yeah.
enforcement.
You gotta write a complaint. I had a complaint, he wouldn't take it unless it's written.
Rick Fritz has told me that he's visited them probably at least twice. And they agreed to comply with whatever Rick told them to do, but apparently they're not complying. That's what I get. They're not complying because they're still operating, right?
yeah.
So Rick is
Did
gonna
you
have,
say they couldn't operate though?
Rick told them that they need to go somewhere else to do that kind of thing. And they agreed with him. They said, yes, we'll do whatever you want us to do. But they have ignored Rick's request. So what options do we have, Don?
Oh, you can cite them, it sounds like, you know, they're in violation of our zoning ordinance. In other words, if it's an R1L or an R1 zone district, it's residential and commercial, unless they argue that they fall within one of the, you know, like accessory uses, you know, home, you know, unless they come up with some argument like that, which it sounds like they've not responded in that way, then they're a violation of their zoning law. You know, I can't open a business in a residential district unless it's of a limited type that is allowed for under our zoning law. So he could certainly file a complaint to be heard in justice court.
So I'll talk to Rick about that.
I mean, this is not one where they're cutting trees off of this land,
No, they've done that.
but these are logs that are being delivered
They're
there.
being delivered, the truck comes in with the arm and stacks them up. And like I say, they're stacked up in between two trees, so the additional pressure on those trees could cause them to come down, knock out our power lines down there.
So they're running a commercial operation in a residential area. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna talk to Rick about this in the morning and have him go down there one last time and let them know that they're in violation of the zoning code. And the next step is you can write a letter to them.
Yeah, and he could file a complaint justice court, or, you know, we could do what we did with the folks down in the trailer park, and you can bring an action to Supreme Court, but I would think you're going to start in justice court.
Start in justice court, yeah. If they don't comply, you know. Okay. Sometimes a letter doesn't.
Do that.
Okay, so we'll work on that, okay?
Super.
We have been working on it, but we're gonna put a little bit more pressure on right now, okay? Thanks for coming, Dave.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Anything?
Now, by the end, this is for Gina then?
No,
Or
no,
you
no,
would-
that's got to be filled out. We got 2,000, I forgot what, 2,700 or something like that. She's gonna get back the exact figure. And we request money from you out of the account that they've already got back in December. When that gets down a little bit, you can request more, but the
So,
town board has to.
so will we need a monthly report from Gina on our seniors to see how much money's in there? And then Jim can,
We can keep track ourselves,
okay,
but he should keep track with Gina to know what to request more money.
okay.
All right, if you don't have any more questions or comments, then we need to make a motion, to pay the general fund vouchers.
Make the motion to pay general fund vouchers, extracts number 11, numbers 18 to number 40, totaling 29.
That's number one, Dave.
Oh, sorry,
Which
that number one shouldn't be in there.
Is it 1 or 11?
It's numbers 18 to 40.
abstract, okay, so that number one comes out?
Yeah.
Okay,
Make a motion to pay general fund vouchers, abstracts numbers 18 to number 40, totaling $29,283.03.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. We need a motion to pay the highway fund vouchers.
I'll make a motion to pay the highway fund vouchers abstract numbers 4 to 11, totaling $7,560.72.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
I don't wanna get into any kind of pushback with your neighbors, I just want it out.
You are friends with me.
Yeah. Hopefully. Go down Swan Lake and take a right and then Salisbury Road. South of Salisbury, down the
Okay. That might have got